Welcome back to Hot Sauce Sports with Terry Tam. I am joined, as you can see on camera, by none other than the Seltzer King, the CEO of TarpsoftHockey.net, formerly of Dean Blundell, the host of Get the Puck Out, the host of the Sesh, an all-time beauty and one of my favorite people on the internet. How's it going, Chris?
Buddy, everything's going great. Thanks for having me, man. Always a good time to see you. How's everything going down in Quebec?
Oh man, Montreal's beautiful. It's the weather's been great recently, so I've no complaints. I've been trying to play golf as much as I can. I was supposed to play today, but it looked like it was gonna rain. It's not even raining, so we canceled for no reason. I would have. I'll play in the rain. It's just my buddies.
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
No, exactly. There's a lot of softies out there. I'm the same, man. If I can get out on the course, like. We launched TarpsoftHockey.net Friday night at midnight, so technically Saturday morning, and I was sitting around stressed all day Friday. I just went and played 18 holes, man. It's therapeutic, too. Like, not only is it good sport, it's good to just get out, not be on your phone, not be on the internet, not have your crazy shit going on in your house. Like, the golf course is nothing better, buddy. Nothing better than summers in Canada. It's the best place in the world.
And you guys have a lot of good courses in Niagara?
Oh, yeah, buddy. That's what we're known for. Yeah, we got Thundering Waters, John Daly. That's his golf course here.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a ton of good golf because we're in wine country, right? At Niagara on the Lake and all that. So right out where I am here, actually, there's a golf course called Cherry Hill, and it used to be like a PGA event, like way back in the days, like in the 40s and 50s. So yeah, there's some real proper courses out here.
Yeah, we got some nice ones out here too. Like there's this one I like to go to. I've been north of Montreal. It's in a city called Terrebonne, and it's beautiful, man. There's one hole. It's so high in the mountains, and I went a couple weeks ago and it was so windy. I already have an awful slice, so the slice is it took it like probably 300 yards to the left, man. I'm not even I have a video of it. I had to retake it like 5 times. I ended up finding my 5th ball. Like I was like, I'll just look for it, So
that's
I had to take 4 mulligans. My buddies were laughing just because it was funny because my slice is so awful. So tell us a bit about Tarpsoft Hockey.
Yeah, man. So basically, I've been podcasting for almost 2 years now, kind of working my way through. You know how it is when you go through this stuff, right? You kind of start small and kind of climb your way up the ladder. And I got to a point where I was over at Blundell's site, and Dean's a great guy. We always got on well, but a little bit of stuff from his past precedes him. And a lot of teams in the NHL aren't that comfortable affiliating themselves with someone who is out there and outspoken as Dean. And I respect Dean to death, and I respect the NHL stance to death. But for me, I want to be in the hockey space first and foremost. I don't really like taking direction well because I always think I know how this stuff works. So I decided, you know what, we're going to put the money in and we're going to start our own brand, our own website. So I've been working on this for about 2 months. And in the same time, hockey stops. I'm going to make my own hockey website. I start the Sesh podcast just to keep things rolling for me on the internet, and that's my biggest podcast now. So very, very strange little couple months here. Now I own a website, and I moved the Sesh podcast from Blundell's site as well because this actually was picked up by another website, JimmyThePrince.com. Cool guy from Canada. He's a Snapchat influencer. He has his own little website thing, and he was a big fan of the show. We did spend some time together at Blundell, and he came down, made his pitch, made his offer, and it came together really quickly. So I'm really happy about that too.
I'm happy for you, man. Like I said, you're one of my favorite guys online.
Appreciate that.
We've done a few episodes together, and I love it. Anytime you want any of us to come on the Sesh, we'd love to talk shit.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
I felt it's the same way with us. I think that we just started for fun, and we told each other, hey, whatever. If we end up making money on this, cool. And now it's gotten to a point. I was let go. I was working at Rogers up until March of 2019, and I was packaged. They had some budget cuts, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So I took the year off, and I was like, I'm gonna play golf. I've been working full time since I was 14. I'm 34 now. I just turned 34 a couple weeks ago. So it's
it's 20 years on the job.
Yeah,
that's
so
long.
I was like, I'll take some time off, see what I really want to do. Like I didn't really want to work at a 9 to 5 anymore, and I think you feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd rather wake up at 7, maybe hit the links, and then come back home and write a blog and do an interview with Chris Mancuso. I'd rather do that kind of stuff. So I took the time, and I know, and now we just started really getting into it. The other guys that we have with us, Pease, Duke, Alex, and Alex, they all have full-time jobs. So I'm pretty much taking on a lot of the just like content, like managing the content and stuff like that.
Which is cool. Exactly, right. If you're home, that's just awesome.
Exactly. So I don't mind. And my graphics guy, which is Duke, he's probably one of the best graphics guy I know. So it's like anytime I need something, I message him, and it just we go back and forth. So we work well together. But it's getting to the point now. It's like I want to do this full time, and I know how you like. I want to be able to write, even though my blogs are awful, my grammar is shit. I'll write blogs all day. Like I wrote an article about the Hockey Hall of Fame and how I didn't like the process and whatever. Yeah. And some guy comments like. He's like, dude, at least fact check, because I wrote that McGillney scored 76 goals in his rookie year. It wasn't his rookie year; it was his third year. So I corrected it. But like people make fun of my grammar and stuff. I don't care. It's out there. If somebody's commenting, I'm good. You know. So like
yeah. And you know what, man? I don't know if you have it or not, but like, I will tell you right now. I've went into Blundell. I said this. I told Jimmy the Prince this, and I tell my own guys and my own editors at tarpsoffhockey.net this. Like, I am one of your worst bloggers. Like I have guys on my site that can just publish. I am not one of those fucking guys. Yeah. So don't beat yourself up about that. Yeah. Writing is difficult. Grammarly. If you don't have the Grammarly extension, it's an extension. You put in Grammarly for whatever computer you have.
Yeah.
And it fixes your grammar and spelling with one click, and it's free. It's a free extension.
Oh, really? Okay, I've seen the ads for it. Yeah,
it will save your life, bro. If you want to, like that kind of stuff, like with like you said, won't help getting McGillney's year wrong, but it'll help with the guy saying you got bad grammar or whatever too, right? And like where your blogs are in English, like you speak primarily English, or you're bilingual though.
Yeah, we all speak both languages. You have to here, right?
So. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, exactly. So like there's also that too, which I know can get my nieces go to French immersion school. They've went there since they've gone to school, and like they have a hard, sometimes I'll say something in English, they'll be like, what do you mean by that? So it's tough when you got the two languages going. So man, Grammarly's the best for that.
So us, we have one Armenian, I'm Greek, and the other three guys are Italian raised, you know, so it's like we're mostly English. So and two guys work at a school board, you know, so their writing is fine.
Oh yeah. yeah.
And mine, I mean, I didn't go to journalism school. I went to like radio broadcasting school, and I studied history. And history, they don't really care about your grammar as long as your timelines are good, you know. So it's like
exactly. Like
so I never
really said timelines. It's one sentence, right? Like, this is what happened in 1942 here.
So it's hard, man. And I'm trying to get interviews, and it's like, you know, I'm trying to get to people, and you've been able to get like such big guys on your show, like Doug McLean, and getting involved with Dean Blundell is a big accomplishment, you know. So things like that, and
even bigger guests coming this week too. Like we have a huge week upcoming.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Actually, the Sesh podcast on JimmyThePrince.com. I got interview part 2 coming. I wanted to kick that off with a bang. So John McAfee. Oh, nice. Creator of the McAfee antivirus software and international fugitive on the run. Amazing. Coming back for a second episode. Yeah, we did the first episode, and he actually kind of like took a liking to me, which is hilarious. Cool, yeah. Probably because like when people bring up the stories of all the like guns and drugs and women and like breaking the law he's done, most people probably make a face at him, where I just start laughing because like he is legitimately a modern day Bond villain. Like they can't catch this guy. Like it's hilarious, bro. Like it's insane. So that's coming up. We got an interview coming up. Yeah, exactly, bro. He's like, I mean, the guy invented antivirus software. That's right, crazy, so he knows what he's doing. Like, you know, McAfee is still on everyone's computer to this day.
I haven't. I pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he knows what he's doing. And then on the hockey end of things, we got a big couple guests this week. Nick Kyprios, who I ended up meeting through the Seltzer King thing, which I'll explain in a second.
He has his own seltzer, right?
Yeah. Kyprios has his own seltzer company. It's called Little Buddha Co. And it's a great product, man. It's his flavor that he had out is grilled pineapple and rosemary and like a vodka cocktail.
Sounds great, yeah.
It was so good, man. Like, and I don't even like pineapple juice usually, but the fact that they use grilled pineapple, dude, it's a different taste. It was unbelievable. And
grilled pineapple is a very it's a very European thing, so I'm not surprised that Nick is
well, Kyprios, right? Exactly, you know him, right? He's Greek as well, correct?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's a Greek guy
Speaks
as well.
Fluently too, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Hilarious. He loved the Seltzer King videos, which I thought was hilarious. I know he's in the space, but he was like, we had a conversation the other day about the podcast, and then he asked about the thing. And I knew I was onto something good when he was like, "Oh yeah, you did your homework when you picked those." Like he knew that I knew. Like I'm
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
huge. I was in the huge seltzer. I drink them, but I'm not like I didn't drink them all the time, right? I saw that they were like the highest grossing alcohols as far as margin go in North America, right?
Well,
So like if you
especially in
really
the summertime, right? It's like it's such a
yeah,
summer drink. Yeah,
and then like the way that I went with the branding of it was like Tiger King was out, so I was like
yeah.
Seltzer King. It just ended up working out.
And McLovin, I love on one of your clips. I think you probably did it on a few of them, and maybe I didn't notice, but you do the lip smacking thing, and you edit it
Yeah,
in the background. Man, it's classic. I love it with McLovin and the fire and I got my shirt, I got my hair out, I'm ready to go. Like, yeah, I love
yeah.
it,
The
man.
chest salad's rocking every day. Man, but you know what I will say, and this is a bit candid, I guess. Like I was glad when the tournament was over because like I was contractually obligated
Yeah,
to film these things. So when I go and I do a couple reviews a day, I mean, in the since March, we did over 60 something reviews, right?
yeah,
Like total between the tournament and
yeah.
then like the other 30 some odd reviews I just did myself. And it's like I'm the type of person that when if I review two things, like two drinks, I'm gonna go home, like or go back into the house, and I'll probably start having a couple beers because I've already had one or
Yeah, you
two,
already
right?
started. You got the engines
So
going. Yeah.
exactly. So all of a sudden, every day I keep firing up the engines, and I'm all gas, no brakes,
There
right?
you
Like
go.
once I start going, I'm hitting the gas, and if the wall's there, I'm not braking. And the wall came, man. Like by the end of that tournament, I felt like shit. So like
For
it was a
sure.
double-edged sword. It was a double-edged sword. So like I've really spent this last, I don't know, 3 weeks just like cleaning everything out,
Detox.
drinking lots of water. Yeah, detoxing it down because legitimately, man, like it was hard to come out of. And then the day that we had like the camera crew here in
Yeah.
Dean Blundell's production company, we filmed like I drank like 20 seltzers that day.
Oh fuck. Full
Like
seltzers or not just sips?
no, see the thing is once I started, I just gassed the can.
you
I can't help it.
can't help it because it tastes so good, right?
That's the problem.
Because
Yeah.
those are all the best seltzers, right?
And I'm not a professional. Like these guys would be like, I'm gonna take a sip and then we get rid of it. But for me personally, like I'm like, yo, these cans of seltzer were like part of the payment. Like, yeah, I got money, but like I also factor in these things. So if I'm dumping out cans, then I'm wasting alcohol. That's alcohol abuse.
So you were contractually obligated. So you guys reached out. You guys got the seltzer companies to send you guys stuff, and through Dean Blundell. So as soon as you were
Yeah,
done that,
they paid to enter the tournaments. Those companies.
I
Yeah,
love it. Yeah,
there was a fee to enter. Like, yeah, and Dean's people did a pretty decent job in the beginning. I was really pissed and like,
oh really?
oh yeah, I don't know if you watched the first Tournament of Champions
I don't think
episode,
I
but
did. No.
we did it live and the video wasn't done and I was just pissed. And then it all went like on like a great trajectory after that.
Okay, there you go. I
But
mean,
that first day, I was snapping on everybody.
oh really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was losing my shit. I'm sitting here on a live. There was like 100 people in there, and the video wasn't ready. I was like,
fuck.
"You fucking assholes, man!" I was so pissed.
It's so shitty, man. When you're trying to do something and you do all of your part and you expect it to be done, and then it's like, okay, so why isn't it being done right now? What's the
Especially
issue?
when they're
You're not
taking
understanding.
especially when they're taking 65% of the gate.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
You know what I mean?
What are you
Because
here
it's like
for?
I don't. Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm glad that you're hosting it on the website, but like,
Yeah.
we need a bracket, we need graphics. Like
I could have paid a guy. I could have paid a guy $100, and he would have done all that stuff, and I would have put it on the site. Just like let's work together, kind of thing. But some guys, sometimes it takes people. They have too much control over the situation, you know, and I think that's what it is. So right after you were done the Seltzer King, that's when you decided to, not because of that, but that's when you decided to leave Dean Blundell.
Yeah, you know what? I listen. I love Dean the guy. Dean the guy is a great guy, but like you start to see the way that people react in the business world, right?
Yeah.
So like you're making them money, and it was like to me, it felt like as soon as the money came, everyone just wanted to be like, okay, I'm done here, and it's like, no, we got the money first, motherfuckers. Now we got to work. Like that's where I was getting pissed off. Where the one thing that I'll fault Dean for, and I don't care if he sees this and whatever, we're cool, and I've said this to him, so it doesn't matter. It's like it's tough to come from the world of him being a radio show guy, showing up and doing the Dean Blundell show on The Edge, which is one of the best radio shows in Canadian history, no doubt. And Dean is one of the best guys in the history of Canada on the mic. But you can't just show up in the podcast world and do your podcast because there's so much more. You know what it's like? You got to send emails to sponsors. You got to, You got to share. You got to boost posts sometimes if you got big guests. Like there's a lot of business side of things that go into the podcasting world, which like I found weren't being executed as well over there the way that I knew that they would be executed if we did it. And I think that between Jimmy and I already, we have some big interviews set up talking tarpsoffhockey.net. And I think I think this thing's going to kick off pretty fast. So we'll see. I mean, the good thing about now is it's like time for me to put my money where my mouth is too. I'm one of those fucking guys who thinks he knows everything. So it's like, let's see how much I know too. So it's a challenge for me personally, bro.
Yeah. I'm the same way, and that's why I feel like I can relate to you a lot, and everything you said is extremely accurate. With us, we just started reaching out to companies. So we started reaching out to hot sauce companies just randomly. You know, we got
that was the first thing I was gonna ask. Like off the record, I would have asked you, like, have you been reaching out to these hot sauce companies, bro? Because like your branding is fucking fire.
Yeah. So we tried, and a lot of the answers that we got back was like, oh, we like what you do. No. So I created like a whole business plan. I've not a business major. I've never done anything. So I just did one, and it's like. It came out pretty decent, so we sent it out. We got a few kickbacks. One company said, you know, they're not interested right now, but like we're starting small, so we're not looking to make money. So we just created like a little sponsorship package for these guys, and then see what they say. But it's tough, man. It's because I almost feel bad asking for money, you know. And it's like
it is very tough, bro. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. We've done pitches. I've been doing pitches for the last 2 months. And yeah, like there was one company in particular, and there's negotiations still going on with a few companies, so I don't want to say too much, but yeah, they were like kind of in a startup position, but it was like we were giving them such a good deal at like industry. But I don't know, when you go into something asking for like, you know, a total of $3,000, like I don't come from that much, right? So to me, like that's a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
But like to these alcohol companies though and shit like that, it ain't nothing. Once you really see like small businesses and stuff, it's hard to want to go and get money from them. But like, one day when you guys, everything kicks off for you guys, like make sure Frank's Hot Sauce gives you like a fucking 500. So who cares about them? Like at the end of the day, these companies, like everybody needs a digital, like you need digital marketing now.
Yeah.
TV is going to be gone in 5 to 10 years. And the thing that's creepy, Tam, is, we're like the pioneers of this movement in a sense of like, we're the first guys that are podcasting, like that are going to change like the concept. And like the Spotify just set the market. They just bought the rights to Joe Rogan. Yeah. So now everyone, Apple, Google, all these things, they're going to start coming now for shows, and shows are not going to be on all platforms anymore. 5-10 years from now, Hot Sauce Sports will only be on Google Podcasts because they're paying you XYZ, and Tarps Off stuff will only be on, you know, maybe this company podcast network, because you know what I mean? So it's going that way. We're just in the transition period right now. So anyone that's podcasting, I tell them, stick with it, man. Stick with it. And when you have your like guests, just kill it, man.
Yeah, we try, you know, and it's like we had Robbie Shrimp on. He was our
Shrimpy from LA. He played for the London Knights.
Exactly.
He was one of the best OHL players ever. I thought that guy was going to be. He played with Patrick Kane, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or was he just before Patrick Kane?
He was before Patrick Kane. He played.
Okay, because the London Knights were crazy.
Yeah, he played with Corey Perry. He's that age. He's my age.
Yeah. Okay. The Corey Perry team. Yeah.
He put Corey Perry, Danny Savret, Dan Fritchie, Girardi.
Girardi was there. Dude, you know what's crazy about Dan Girardi? He was a walk-on everywhere he went. He played junior B hockey, didn't get drafted to the OHL, walked on, made it. Played his OHL career, played in London, did great. Didn't get drafted to the NHL. Showed up to the Rangers, made the team, was making $6 million a season, probably grossed $30-40 million. And he's like, his house is only 10 minutes from my house.
Oh, really? Okay,
he's from Welland. Like he's right from the area, man. So like Dan Girardi, what a fucking story that guy was. And Shrimpy was such a great hockey player, you know. It really I really thought it was going to be a bigger career for him, but he's a great guest.
Yeah, so we had an interview with Shrimpy, and he we did the first interview with him, and he was a little sauced, you know. So he's like, you know, was like, can we do it again? I said, yeah, no problem. We did it again. It was great. It ended up turning out great, and I wrote a nice piece on him, and he shared it, and he's super cool because he's good friends with a friend of mine that played hockey with him in the summer, in spring hockey, and Matt Lashoff as well.
Oh, Lashoff used to play for the Bruins.
Exactly. Yeah, he got first round by the Bruins. Yeah. So them three, they were good friends growing up, and I'm looking into getting Matt Lashoff on too. And I knew you would like that. I knew you'd recognize the name. So it's more of and I'm trying to get these guys. I got Otis Grant. He's a boxing legend. You know. So yeah. So we're getting good names. Like this week we have Rene Paredes on. He's the kicker for the Calgary Stampeders, but he's a Montreal native, and he's.
Are you a big boxing guy?
I am. Yeah, boxing MMA guy. Yeah.
One of the kids from my hometown Niagara, his name's Lucas Body, and he is one of the top pound for pound amateur or like professional, like upcoming professional boxers. He was fighting amateur. He's professional now. He's been professional for 9 fights. Yeah. But
I know the name, but I don't.
Phil LaGreco is his manager.
Okay.
He lost the belt to Amir Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's who.
Yeah, I know Phil LaGreco. Yeah.
And LaGreco and Body are my buddies, so maybe I can toss them to you.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And do a little boxing talk with them, because if anybody loves to just talk and talk and talk, it's LaGreco.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
There's 2 things LaGreco loves to do: make pasta every single day.
I love it.
Every single day. That's all he eats is pasta. He's the biggest Italian in the world, and he smokes a fat cigar every day, and has to tell. And he calls it smoke season. So
smoke season.
I'll get you on with him and make sure you have a cigar. He'll go nuts if you have a cigar.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love cigars. I'm a huge cigar guy.
Yeah, me too. So that's how we get.
I just got a new humidor, you know, like it's so.
Oh, dope.
I'm calibrating it now, but it's not fucking coming down. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out, but.
Where'd you get it off of Amazon?
No, my buddy gave it to me. It was like a really expensive one that he got a long time ago. Then he got this massive one from his girlfriend for his birthday. Nice. So he's like, I don't need it anymore. You want it?
Where do you order your cigars from? Like, we don't have any good cigar shops around here, so I mostly smoke cigars on vacation. But it's like, I like smoking cigars in the summertime. I'd love to grab some.
Yeah, I take for a walk. I go for a walk and I go. But there's a few websites, but they don't really ship to Canada. It's tough. So, but in Montreal we have 3 or 4 cigar shops that are very good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, I'm sure we have something around here. I just haven't investigated it enough. But yeah, I mean, like when I go to Mexico, there's a place and the guy sits right out front. He's hand rolling cigars. Like, bro, those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like those fresh ones, you know?
Oh yeah, they're still like almost wet, like almost fall apart. Like so like you said, like that's what you got the humidor for, right?
Exactly.
Keep them drying out. So fresh. Big cigar guy, man. I love cigars and coffee, man. I'm a cigar and coffee guy. I'm a sucker for it. I wish you could advertise smoking. I would get a cigar sponsorship so fast.
You might be, I don't know if you can get a cigar sponsorship, but you might be able to get like a website that sells it.
Yeah, maybe they could put an ad on or something. Yeah, that's the double-edged sword now. I've always just been selling podcasts, like advertising or trying to, but it's like now I have a website and a blog network that I keep forgetting about. So yeah, maybe it could work out. But yeah, man, I just I always want to like, you don't want to like sell out in this, right? I want to make sure that if we do bring products or anything on, that I like them.
Exactly,
and because I have a hard time bullshitting if I don't like something.
Oh, for sure, man. I remember we had on we joked around about it. We did a whole segment. It was funny. It was a time where we just decided to just start drinking on the show, you know. So I went to our liquor commission here, the SAQ, and I got this whiskey. It was called Cask and Crew, and it was awful, man. But we finished the bottle on the show. But we were saying, man, this is the worst whiskey ever. We kept on saying that, and in my head, I'm like, this company should take our clip or whatever it is and use it as advertisement, because at some points we're like, but if they want to pay us, you know, we'll say it's the best whiskey of all time, you know, just joking like that. But like, but we gave, everybody was asking, what was that whiskey that you drank? It was shit, you know, like I was Cask and Crew, you know, so I had to tell them what it was. So that just gave it's just advertising for them, you know, and we just ripped on it for an hour.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. And it's funny. Thing. Yeah, it's funny too, because someone asked me the other day, like, I had a Chevrolet hat on, and they're like, "Oh, did Chevrolet sponsor the website?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Then why are you wearing the hat?" I was like, "Bro, I'm not that big. Like, I'm gonna wear my Adidas doesn't pay me to wear this hat, bro. I like wearing a fucking hat. Like, I'm not there yet."
Carol Baskin is not paying you to wear that shirt, you know.
Carol Baskin is paying me to wear this shirt. She took over the zoo. She wanted everyone to see Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic got a makeover.
Oh my god, man! Photoshop, huh?
Photoshop is a strange thing, and when I did the Seltzer King things, that picture got inboxed to me from a follower from Boston, And I was like, bro, can I use that? He was like, absolutely. So he did a pretty bad job. So I just had my guy go and touch it up in Photoshop or whatever. But yeah, man, like hilarious concept. As soon as I said Seltzer King, it was like that day he had a picture of my face on Joe Exotic because that was the huge thing at the time. So it all ended up panning out, man. It was hilarious. But one thing that I want to know where you stand on this, and I wanted to talk about you with, because you like hockey as much as I do. This hub city stuff is getting annoying, bro. Like when you look over, it's like get these guys, the hub cities, and get them there and get them quarantined. Like it has to happen this week.
The longer you wait, the longer it's going to take.
Yeah. And yesterday I did a podcast with Doug McLean, and he said that one NHL executive told him that they want to play for August 1st. So he's like, it has to be this week. Now, but my thing is, why are they thinking of going to Nevada?
Well, I think they already decided. No, the East is going to go there.
Yeah, to Nevada, which is like, dude, the states are just they're having the worst period with Corona right now.
But Nevada is shut down though, so I don't think that they have. I don't like Texas.
I thought they opened the casinos though.
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, bro, because I saw some video of a girl smoking a dart out of the side of her mask. I was howling. Yeah, bro, I'm pretty sure they're open and they got a huge spike in cases. It's like, guys, you're going to get the TV revenue. It's because they need the time differences for those prime time slots all over, right? That's the only reason.
I think it's mostly because they can house all these players and it wouldn't even be an issue, where if you go to like Chicago, it's all condensed into one city. So I don't know, it might be risky for them, where they might not be able to get the hotels and whatever it is. But I'm sure the NHL has enough money, man.
They've had so much time to figure this out. They should have already had. This is what they should have been doing during March and April.
It's the city's bidding.
We all knew that sports, they were going to try to come back this summer. Mm-hmm. They made that very apparent. So why weren't these conversations, these meetings and everything already done? And it's like, for me now, with what you see going on in the States and how you see the curve of COVID-19 flattening in Canada, like the simple solution to me is put one in Edmonton and put one in Calgary, Toronto. Or put one in Calgary and one in Toronto. Like you don't even, like, who cares at this point, man? Like the players are going to have to play at some obscure times if they play out there.
It's not going to be. There's not going to be any fans anyway, so you can pretty much do it anywhere.
That's why I'm wondering, and it's time zone thing, I think, or like these cities or whatever must be kicking the league money, because like
no, that's what it is. Yeah, they're all bidding. They're all bidding wars.
Absolutely, and there must be brown envelopes going from here to
Gary Bettman's
Mississippi.
Making a lot of money right now.
Oh yeah, because legitimately, the fact that this isn't done is insane. The fact that they haven't ruled out the United States completely, when you see 10 plus guys on WWE test positive for the coronavirus, 16 NBA players, all the baseball players down in Florida. Florida had like 5,000 cases the other day.
That's crazy, man.
That's more than my entire province of Ontario. Like in one day, these people are having, man. Like, why aren't they putting the games in Canada? It doesn't make sense to me.
It's because the money, man. We don't have.
It's money, exactly.
We don't have the money, but Edmonton would be great. Even Winnipeg, because it's kind of
isolated. How about Winnipeg? Dude, like Nova Scotia. Like if as long as you have an NHL-sized rink and there's no fans, who cares? As long as you can rig the cameras, as long as you can have the cameras there, who cares? Get it, man. Nova Scotia hasn't had a case in like almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight, like legitimately, man. It's
find the safest place, figure it out. You know,
exactly. Like the NBA throws them into Florida, like the hotbed of COVID. Like you basically dumped all your players and the MLB and put them into a big COVID soup. It's like, why don't you not do that? Because guess what? If the NHL doesn't finish this year, you know, Doug McLean said it yesterday. You know how many guys have to scrape their ass? How many owners just to break even? Florida Panthers, Arizona Coyotes. Dude, if they don't finish this year and don't get that final TV money revenue, these owners are gonna bottom out, a couple of them, and there's gonna be teams for sale. That could add relocation implications. Like they have to finish this season, but it's like they're not being smart about it. No. They're not. Like the to me, the math is simple. Do it in Canada. And I'm not even saying that because we're Canadian. It's just like when you look at statistically, it's the safest place.
And we're also a bigger country. There's if you go to like more of an obscure area, maybe Nova Scotia, I highly doubt they would ever go to Nova Scotia. But if you go to one of the cities, if you go to Montreal, we've had a lot of cases. So Quebec isn't great for that. But
same with Toronto. I don't even get Toronto. It's like, why Toronto? Why not Hamilton?
Yeah,
where the
exactly.
Cox
Yeah.
Coliseum, where the Bulldogs played for
Or
the
even
old Montreal part.
Quebec City. There's well, yeah, exactly. Well, in Quebec City they have the Pepsi Coliseum. I mean,
Mhm.
why not? I mean, there's so many options I find. But and also about Canada, it's like we're so spread out. So the chances of infection are a lot less than you are in the city, where everybody's so much more contained in the States. And
Yeah.
so if you bring them to Winnipeg, where it's a very small city, they have a beautiful arena. And is it still called the MTS Center? Or is
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I always call it the MTS Center
Yeah.
anyway.
So they have a beautiful arena. It's small. It fits like 13,000, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And it's a small place. I'm sure you can block out an entire hotel, at one floor per team or whatever it is.
Dude,
I
there's a
don't know.
golf course that has a hotel there. Every
Yeah,
city
like,
has
fuck,
something
man.
like that. Get these guys set up. And I know Edmonton's pitch, from a friend personally told me, Edmonton's pitch was it was put around like a good time
Yeah.
for the players. So what they were going to do is like house them on like this golf resort place.
Okay.
And then they're actually thinking of building them like an outdoor drive-in, like theater, so the boys can watch movies and have games and like golf and everything all set up around there. So like
Okay.
their pitch was very player friendly.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I think Edmonton's got to get a spot.
I think Edmonton has to, but are they still in the running? I know Vancouver's out now.
Vancouver's out. I think it's like Toronto,
Chicago,
Vegas,
LA.
Chicago, LA.
Why LA?
Why would LA be an option?
Like why?
Like
the most
either you're going to
fucking-
get coronavirus or someone or a group of protesters might light your building on fire. Like,
or you're gonna get stuck in traffic. Fuck.
that's what I mean, man. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like the States right now has so much turmoil, like amongst their people, swimming in coronavirus, just a big pool of coronavirus. And yet we're still talking about going to Nevada, LA, and Chicago. What a nightmare.
Yeah, big time. I mean, I just want it to happen, man. And if they're smart enough guys, they can figure it out. But it's like, get it done. Don't make it seem like this is a fucking cash grab that you're trying to play gap closure and trying to get all the money that you lost throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what they're trying to do. The NHL's trying to recover all the money.
You're going to save that money by not upping the cap. Like,
exactly,
stop.
yeah.
It's just Bettman trying to squeeze every dollar out of it that he can. He's always been motivated by money, and I mean that's what it's billionaires and millionaires, right?
That's
it.
As much as I
like, all about the money.
As much as I like Bettman and what he's done for the sport, he's a fucking weasel, and he's obvious weasel, and that's the reason why he gets booed all the time. But if he doesn't get this, if he got this done properly, he probably would have been cheered when he's announcing the Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah,
cheered.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it would have been the first time in his career.
Yeah, no, he's still gonna get it hard.
He's still gonna get it fucking hard.
And look at the draft lottery. Look at what just happened with the draft lottery. What a disaster.
It's a string of shit is what it is.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, being a Montreal Canadiens fan, you got to feel pretty good because if Pittsburgh bounces you guys, imagine Lafreniere in Montreal.
So I work at every summer.
Talk about the pressure.
Man. I work every summer at this one of the biggest hockey tournaments in Canada. It's called the Montreal Meltdown. And my friend's father, he's been running it for 27 years, whatever it is. And we've had every first overall pick in the last like 20 years has come through the tournament. And,
awesome.
Yeah, and Lafreniere, I've seen him play since he was probably like 5 years old.
Really?
He used to play on this team called, I think they were called the Petit Blizzard or something like that. And him and Sam Poulin's son. And another kid got drafted in the queue this year, 2 years ago, Xavier Parent. Those three kids all played together. And Lafreniere was always killing everybody. And we knew it from when he was a kid, man. We're like, this kid's going to be a first overall pick for sure. And he's such a good player. So for him being from, well, he's not from Montreal. He's from a little bit north of Montreal. But for him to play for Montreal would be unreal for the city. But I'm just worried. No, as a Montreal fan, I know how shitty they are to their fucking prospects and how they don't develop them.
And they're harder on their French, the hardest on their French Canadian
when
players.
We had, I mean, not that Latendresse was anything. Latendresse is my age, so I knew him.
Oh, Guillaume Latendresse, yeah.
He was good, but they forced him in, and because he was a French Canadian kid, they had all these expectations for him.
Oh yeah, they were all over him too,
man,
like right off the hop, and.
Yeah.
You saw it with Carey Price. Remember he had the Patrick Waugh thing. I mean, the fans are ruthless there. But one thing I'll say is Lafreniere doesn't give a fuck. Like, at that World Junior tournament this year, that kid has ice in his veins.
Oh, man, you noticed that? Yeah.
He was injured, and he still, like, put up the you think he scored the game winner?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Who else would score? Oh, was it him or was it Who?
I think
No,
I think he was him or the guy from the Coyotes, Hayden. It was either him or Hayden.
It was. Yeah, I think it was Hayden.
But he was unbelievable in that
Unreal.
final game, and both those kids were unreal. But you know who the big winner was for the draft lottery with the LA Kings?
Yeah.
Holy, are they stacked for the future? They got Akil Thomas, amazing prospect.
And
He's gonna
Byfield.
Quentin Byfield, Turcotte. They have a bunch of awesome young talent down in LA. Like that rebuild now with Kopitar and Brown and all these guys being old and time to move on. The next wave for the LA is awesome, and like the Senators too. 2 picks in the top 5. Like
yeah,
that's a great
because it's such a deep draft
for them too. Yeah, it's a deep ass draft.
Such a deep draft.
The Sabres obviously got the screw job, the worst out of everybody. Poor Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Eichel because now they're probably going to end up with like Cole Perfetti or somebody like that. And I went and saw Perfetti this year. I don't know. Maybe it was just a couple games. I saw him twice. Wasn't that impressed, and he had points and stuff. But it's like I don't know as if his game is going to translate well to the NHL. It'll take time. Yeah. And maybe I'm wrong and Cole Perfetti comes out and wins the Rookie of the Year trophy, but from what I saw, he was a bit of a floater, didn't back check that hard, like on the power play, like just always trying to blow the zone for the breakout pass, and like they iced it like 7 times.
7 times, yeah.
He was very demanding of his teammates. I heard some stuff because I was down in the scrum, right? So I heard some stuff with him. Oh, yeah. He's Cole Perfetti, he knows he's good. That's what I'm going to say. He's a good player, and he knows he's a good player. But it's like that doesn't always translate well in the NHL.
No, it doesn't. I mean, we've seen him, and we've seen it so many times. Guys that come in that think they're better than they actually are. A guy for me is another Montreal kid, Daniel Sprong. You know, I mean, he's been bounced around in the NHL. He was a kid growing up that one of the best players you can watch on the ice in minor. And then as soon as it starts getting a little physical, that's when they start losing it a bit. And, you know, he's kind of fallen off. I think now he belongs to Pittsburgh, I want to say, or Anaheim. And for him, he's a guy who could have had a pretty sick career, and it just didn't work out for him. I mean, he's still playing, so good for him. But there's all these guys that, especially I find it happens a lot from Quebec players because, you know, you probably know in the Q, you score 100 points, that's like the norm. You know, and like, if you're scoring 100 points in the queue, it's like okay, you're good. If you're scoring 150, you're like okay, now you're really good.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly. I think he went to the Duck Sprung, but yeah, no, exactly. I know what you mean. And it's like, man, I've seen it happen too, though. Like my cousin Justin Shug, he played with the Windsor Spitfires, and you know, his line mates were Adam Henrique and Taylor Hall.
Oh, there you go.
And he was scoring 50 goals a year. He's the only player in the OHL to ever win 3 straight Memorial Cups. He won 2 with Windsor, and then when Henrique and Hall went to the NHL, they traded him to Mississauga. They were the host city to give him a chance, and Mississauga ended up winning it. And, I mean, he was scoring 40, 50 goals a year. Only ever played 2 NHL games, played in the AHL. Now he's just playing in Europe, man. So it happens to anybody.
Europe is fun, man. I mean,
he lives a great life. He lives a great life over there, man.
I know guys that play in Italy now, Italian guys that are born here in Montreal, and now they play in Italy. They're with family. You know, he's Italian is getting better. You know, things like that. Robbie Schremp played in Europe. I mean, I know a guy who played years in France, and it's just
man. The Italy league treats you really well too. Germany as well. Italy, Germany are great cities.
You would never think that Italy is like a good hockey league, and it's a pretty decent hockey league. You know?
Yeah, it's very decent.
Actually, you mentioned Taylor Hall. At the tournament, I have a great story about Taylor Hall. He was probably 16 years old. It was right. I think he had just the O draft had just happened, and he was chosen like 2nd overall or something like that. And he got and they were playing. He was playing for like the Ottawa Valley Prospects or the Ottawa 67s or something like that. And he gets into like a fight on the ice with like 4 guys were fighting on the ice, so they all got put in the box, and I'm in the scorekeeping booth, and I'm listening to these guys go back and forth with each other, and Hall's not saying anything, and he was lighting up the tournament, and Hall's not saying anything, and then one guy's like to the other side, hey over you're fucking garbage, bud. You learn how to play hockey, something like that. So then and then he goes, Taylor Hall's like, he's like, hey, where were you drafted this year? He was like, I wasn't drafted. He's like, yeah, okay, watch this. He goes on the ice and he dangles the entire team and he scores a goal. And then his teammates kind of tripping the other guy because he got a 10. So he's tripping the other guy. He's like, dude, he just got drafted in the 2nd overall. But you know, like it's like these guys are so cocky, and it just makes me laugh. I love the hockey chirps. The hockey chirps are the best.
They're the best.
So
being down by the rink is.
ever since then, I've been like, this guy's a fucking star for me. You know, like, just because of that.
Yeah. But 16 years old with ice in his veins, letting them know you guys stink.
But the best player I ever saw minor hockey was Matt Duchene. Matt Duchene was playing 2 years up, and he literally lit up the tournament. And I'm telling you, that year we had probably 15 first overall picks in the NHL that year in that same tournament. Yeah. And Matt Duchene was playing with the 91s, with the 92s, and he's a 90. He's a 92. He's playing with the 90s, and he's playing for a team called East Coast Selects. And East Coast Selects was this organization that they just got the best players from North America, mostly American kids. And Matt Duchene was on that team, and I swear he was scoring 5 goals a game.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. Unbelievable. So you see these kids growing up, and it's like, fuck, man, this guy's gonna be the best player in the NHL, and then some of them don't pan out, but most of the time they do.
Well, that's the thing too, is like even guys who fight in the NHL, when you think about them and like relatively as kids, like they're the best players on their team, you know? Like most of these guys fight because they know that they don't have like they fight to avoid being the guy who is the best growing up and missed the NHL.
That's it, exactly.
Right? So these guys are all so skilled.
Yeah, to this day, I watched Brendan Lemieux. He was on a team called the Skills Black Aces. It was all black kids except for one guy, and it was Brendan Lemieux. And he had the biggest chip on his shoulder, and I'm like, this guy's nuts. He's nuts. It's just like his dad. It's just fucking nuts. And that's why I love watching these kids grow up. And it's like, you see them growing up from, they're like, 12 years old, 13 years old, they start figuring it out. And then when they hit 16, they're really good. They start getting their name out there, and it's awesome, and I love it.
I love it, man. No, that's cool. It's a great tournament, man. That sounds like a great time.
Oh, it's unbelievable. We're going 3 weeks this year. Usually we do 7 weekends, but we're doing 3 weekends this year because of COVID. So we're doing it in August. Usually it should be happening in May and June. So we're going to be doing it in August. So it's fun. But I want to talk about the lottery you said before. We kind of got sidetracked. But to me, Detroit Red Wings, I'm one of those guys where I was like looking forward to seeing the rebuild, because I grew up watching the Red Wings and they were always good to me.
They're great, yeah.
So to
the dynasty.
For me to see them going down like that, they traded Athanasiou, it's like all these weird things, and it's like I want to see them do well. Anthony Mantha is a great player, and I think that he can be an even better player if he just a few pieces around him, and it sucks, man. I want them to do super well. They got Joey Veleno last year, and they drafted 2 players in the first round, I think 2 years ago. They had Joey Veleno, and I don't even know.
Yeah.
But for them, it would have helped them a lot to be part of that lottery, and they kind of got fucked up. They
got screwed there, man. It stinks.
It's bad,
feel bad for them for sure. Fall back that far. Don't get laughing. Like even if they would have finished second, like Quentin Byfield is as good of a number 2 overall pick as you can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's as good of a number 2 as and even the kid at 3 too, the German kid, Schultz or however you say exactly. it. He's a great pick too, but they're gonna miss out on all 3 of them. But I trust Stevie Yzerman. He did a great job in Tampa Bay, and I think he'll figure it out. But man, that was a big knock for them for sure.
I want to see them do well in the original 6 team, and it's like I really want to see that happen. And I just don't like the NHL. I feel like the NHL does everything right up until now. The Hockey Hall of Fame, I can complain for hours on who doesn't get in and who does get in. Like this year was an absolute joke for me, but whatever.
No McGillney. Like, what does the guy have to do? He defected. Yeah. He defected Russia, put his family at risk, came over and ripped up the NHL.
You can even put him as the builder category for being the first guy to ever do that.
Yeah, man. He's he's legitimately a pioneer.
And I grew up with a fucking McGillney jersey. I'm like, why is this guy? How I didn't even realize he wasn't in the Hall of Fame because he should have been in by now.
Because he was huge in Buffalo, and then he went to Toronto. So I've always been surrounded by McGillney. You know what I mean? So for me, it's crazy. And I mean, all love to Jerome McGinley. He deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I agree there. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like not having McGillney in and Hossa, Hossa kind of cup road to the best teams. Like remember he went to Detroit to try to win, and then Pittsburgh to try to win, and then he just saw that
lost both sides.
That Chicago, and then he knew that Chicago was good. They had Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Brendan. Who did they say? Brad Campbell. Yeah. Sorry, Brian Campbell.
Yeah.
Keith Seabrook. All these guys already in place.
He just joined the stacked team.
And he just joined a stacked team, but he tried to do it for like 3-4 years in a row, and it's like I don't know. I think I would have put McGillney in over him and given Hossa a nod down the road. He's a Hall of Famer, but is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
So I saw the process, and I never really understood what the process was. And for me, the issue is not. It's not really Hossa. Hossa, I think eventually maybe he would have gone in. So is he?
Yeah, he deserves to be in, but I don't think he's a first ballot.
No, I agree. But for me, Kevin Lowe has no business in the Hall of Fame.
No,
I agree. In the Hall of Fame. Guy Carbonneau got in last year. Guy Carbonneau won 2 Selkies and 2 Stanley Cups. So you can make an argument that he's probably one of the best shutdown centers of his era. You can make an argument that he was one of the best two-way players in his era. But even him, I can see why people hated on him. But I think he's a Hall of Famer. I might have a Montreal bias. But when I look at Kevin Lowe, okay, he won 6 Stanley Cups. Who was on his team? He scored 84 goals in the NHL in his career. 84 fucking goals. You score 84 goals in your career and you're in the Hall of Fame. It does at least crack 100.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wrote an article about it. McGillney scored more in 1 year than Kevin Lowe scored. Other than he scored 76 in 1 year. Kevin Lowe scored 84. Like, what's the difference there? Obviously, it's not goals based.
Yeah, in 90 games he scored more.
Yeah, exactly. So who's voting for this? And the way the process I read an article on The Athletic is the way the process is that you have to get 14 votes in order to be eligible. So everybody gets nominated. Everybody throws in their nominations, and then you have to get 14 votes, and then you go into 2 rounds. And both rounds you have to get 14 votes in order to go through. And who's voting for Kevin Lowe is my question.
Well, it's a hockey, man. I'll tell you one thing that I've learned from. I'm not inside, but I'm on the doors banging to get inside. And people won't like hearing this, and I don't give a shit anyway. But dude, there's an old boys club as old as time in hockey, and Kevin Lowe is a part of that club. Yeah. Kevin Lowe is a catalyst for that club. All those old guys who like the hockey their certain way are all a part of that club, and Kevin Lowe is no different. So to be honest with you, his friends are voting, to be completely honest. And that doesn't take away 6 Stanley Cups is still special. But like you said, his stats aren't special. And I mean, 6 Stanley Cups put me on the ice with Gretzky. Marty McSorley was scoring 30 goals.
Yeah, they're saying, look at his plus minus. Of course, he has Gretzky on the ice scoring 4 goals a shift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. They would score 2 goals before they even changed a line. They score, go drop the puck again, score again. You're a +2 in 45 seconds.
It makes no fucking sense back then, man. Nobody didn't know how to play D back then. He was just a big guy that knew how to dish a puck down just to give it to fucking Gretzky.
Yari Curry, all these guys.
Oh Messier, my God, Messier. Grant Furinets was one of the probably biggest showmen ever. He would just come up in big moments, and it just the Hockey Hall of Fame to me, the process was isn't great. I mean, with Pat Burns is probably the best example as how they know how to fuck up a system. Yeah. Pat Burns was on his deathbed,
and they didn't put him in. It made me sick because
they put Gary Bettman in that year.
Yeah, Gary Bettman put himself in.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I mean. They put Gary Bettman in the year that Pat Burns should have been in there. I mean, that guy won Coach of the Year with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Boston Bruins. What coach has ever done that?
Didn't he win a Stanley? Yeah, and he won a Stanley Cup in Montreal and Jersey. Yeah. And it's like, what does the guy have to do? And to top it all off, he gets in the year after he dies.
After, I know, nothing like with the draft lottery, it's the same thing from this league. Oh my God, man. And Doug McLean, he got fired up on the program yesterday. If anyone out there is listening, check out Get the Puck Out. Our latest episode was with Doug McLean. And
I have it queued up. I'll listen to it.
He's just like, man. He's like, they always have to tinker and do this. And he was like, it's BS. And it is, man. It's the same old, they just try to complicate everything in the league, it feels like sometimes. Sometimes when you think it should be so simple, it has to be way more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. And they just you oversimplify things, and it's just very clear to me that Pat Burns should have been in. It's also very clear to me that maybe you should change the system and not have a 15-year tenured, because you have to have 15-year max, right, to be in the Hall of Fame committee.
Yep.
And to me, it's like, okay, who's voting? Are we getting the right guys to vote? I understand you probably need some old guard, and it comes down to an article that I wrote months ago about the recycling of coaches in the NHL. How there's no new voices. How many chances is Randy Carlyle gonna get? How many chances is Dave Tippett gonna get? How many chances is fucking I don't know who or Torts? I love Torts. He's one of my favorite coaches. But these guys are all getting the jobs. Michel Terrier, a good coach, but how many opportunities is he gonna get? I'm sure there's a young guy out there that would love an assistant coaching job for the Philadelphia Flyers, and it's all the same guys over and over again.
It's the old boys club, man. They all take care of each other, these guys.
Yeah, and to the point where Montreal has hired the same coach twice after firing him the first time, in the same sequence. They fired Michel Terrier, hired Claude Julien, and they did the same thing again 10 years later. So like it's always the same shit, and it's like, when are they going to realize that all these old, like the old guard and these old the old boys club, like you said, sometimes it needs to change. And
they need to put, you know what, for Montreal, not to cut you off, but they need to get rid of this notion that the coach has to speak French too. Like, you can have an interpreter. I know it is, but like, the best coaches aren't always French speaking, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you see these, like, that's just like Bruce Boudreau, or no, sorry, not Boudreau. What's his name in the island now? He won the Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz, yeah. You know what I mean? Guys like that.
If Barry Trotz is available, we can't touch him? Like, the guys
No, because he doesn't speak French.
That's so stupid.
Bruce Cassidy in Boston is a fantastic coach, too. Like, there was all these guys, like Sheldon Keefe for the Toronto Maple Leafs. There was all these great coaches in the AHL that were known to be waiting on their NHL things, and they bring back Claude Julien after. Dude, the second Claude Julien left the Bruins, went way up. Because not that Claude Julien's a bad coach. I love that dude, but like, dude, the game passes these guys by.
Yeah, and the thing about Claude Julien, he sits on his rookies, man. He doesn't let them.
He hates rookies.
Oh, he hates young
guys. Yeah, and it's like the second he left, David Pastrnak became one of the biggest stars in the NHL.
And another thing with Montreal is that, he needs to speak French. I understand, but we have Kirk Muller, man, and Kirk Muller is a good fucking coach. And he never got the head coaching job because he doesn't speak French well enough. And now we have a guy, Ducharme, right? Ducharme is a good coach as well. And I hope that he ends up panning out. And if Claude Julien doesn't have some success, he'll probably get fired soon enough. But I hope Ducharme is able to take over. But it just sucks me that Kirk Muller's not getting an opportunity. The guy spent his career here. He was a head coach in junior in the AHL.
Man, it's like, is it a big deal if he says his answer and then an interpreter reads it? Like, is it that bad? Like, if he's bringing you to the playoffs, I'm sure they'll forget about it fast. I know the media, but they'll forget fast with success.
You have no
success
idea.
is the biggest thing. I know, but the Montreal media is just, it's ruthless. Like, it makes the Toronto media look nice.
And Montreal media is the worst. And even the English media, we have our TSN 690 over here. Some of the guys on that show are the biggest hypocrites and the contradictors I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, like Tony Maz?
Tony Marinaro.
The
guy is awful. He blocked me on Twitter once. Well, I'm still blocked on Twitter because Carey Price wasn't even playing a game. I don't remember what the situation was exactly, but I remember him saying like, "Oh, Carey Price would have choked in that scenario." And I responded, I'm like, "Just take the night off. I better yet take the season off. You know, just like give up on the hate all the time. You know, he's always hating,
always negative.
Yeah, but the thing is, I always hear, well, he's not the same guy on air. I don't care. He makes it awful for free agents to want to come here, and then he starts ripping because he's a big voice. Then he starts ripping GMs that can't get the free agents. It's not that they don't want to come to Montreal.
The media.
They don't want to deal with Tony Marinaro, who's never put on a fucking pair of skates in his life.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. And that's why I hate the way that journalism is now. That's why part of the reason why I launched tarpsofthockey.net is I'm tired of guys like this that never played hockey speaking out, just talking crazy, man. Sit there going to talk about Carey Price. If Carey Price was on any team that's not Montreal, he would have 2 cups right now.
Oh, my God. Imagine if he plays on a team, like, let's say he goes back to Vancouver this year. Okay,
they would be right like they were in 2011. If he went to even a team that doesn't have a great defense, but like the Edmonton Oilers, the Oilers would probably be in the conference final. Like, dude, if the Philadelphia Flyers had Carey Price, they would have a Stanley Cup.
He's consensus, you know what I mean? The best goalie in the league. The players say Carey Price is the best goalie in the league.
Yeah, he's the players know that.
Best fucking goalie in the league for a reason.
Yeah, but
he might have his nights off, but he's the best goalie in the league. There's no doubt.
You can only do so, man. The goalie's job is to make the first save and kind of clear the rebound. Whatever your defense does after that is and when Shea Weber was out, like, what do you expect when you got a defense that's being led by Jeff Petrie? And I don't hate Jeff Petrie, but he's certainly
he moves the puck well.
He's certainly not like your cornerstone number one guy playing 25, 26 minutes a night, though. Like, that's not what Jeff Petrie's for.
Yeah, but so
Jeff Petrie needed to be your second pair guy. So you need to address some defensive depth on that team and get some D on that team that are going to be like, that Sergachev for Drouin trade.
Oh my God. It makes me puke, man.
Must make you want to be sick because who cares? Who cares about PK? I mean, I think he's a great guy. I mean, one of the best Montreal Canadiens as far as in the community that maybe has ever worn the hat sweater. Ever. Like, he's one of the best guys in the community of all time.
But I love the trade.
But yeah, Shea Weber is a fantastic captain, fantastic leader. It sucks that he's been injured, but now that he's healthy, he's much better defenseman now than PK Subban is.
For sure. I mean, you talk about pure defensive.
Yeah.
I remember when the trade happened, there was this. I think the website's probably still up. It's called PK Subban Tracker or something like that, and it would track Weber and Subban's stats. And Weber always had better stats, And then so when Subban went to Nashville and they lost in the Cup final. It was like, was the Cup or the Western Conference Final they lose?
No, they lost in the Cup final to Pittsburgh.
Was it Nashville?
No, who didn't? Yeah, it was Pittsburgh because then Bonino went to Nashville after.
Exactly, you're right. Yeah, exactly. So everybody's like, oh, see, he's better. But no, he's just on a much better team.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Pekka Rinne, Nets was shutting the fucking door that year. So it's like, I love PK
look at their defense too, though. Dude, he was surrounded by Roman Josi, Ekholm, Ryan Ellis, who's even their bottom pairing? Like, Weber's not bad. Another Montreal guy that they have up there in their 5-6.
Yannick Weber,
yeah.
So yeah, he was like the fourth really best shutdown defenseman. Obviously, he's a power play guy. He runs a power play, and I love Subban, but I love the trade for Weber because what it did was it showed that like we want a winning attitude here. Nothing against PK Subban, but
PK's worried about building his PK Subban brand too. PK's a type of player who, after hockey, is going to have a career in a brand. And he's already aware of it. And coaches, some guys, it rubs people the wrong way in the locker room. He always rubbed Hal Gill the wrong way when he was in Montreal. And PK's loud, man. And hockey guys don't really love that stuff. And look, he went to Nashville and they wanted to trade him. And now I've even heard whispers of the Devils would be interested in flipping him if there was.
Well, he had asked to move he wanted to go to New York. And the reason why is because of his post-career. He wants to start something there. But PK Subban, like, he launched his YouTube channel when the season got locked out. Like, he does things, and it's like you're asking. It's like have a thought about, like, a read the room kind of thing, And I feel like he doesn't really do that well. But what he does do well is that he does market himself well. He does give a lot back to the community, and he's a
monster, great guy, and he's a great
fucking hockey player too. Yeah.
But yeah, when you're making your trade decisions based on your post career and you haven't won the Stanley Cup yet, like, how does that not rub you? That rubs me the wrong way.
Exactly.
If I'm the GM and you're worried about your post career, why don't you win me a fucking Stanley Cup first? And then worry about your post career there, my man.
And him and Pacioretty didn't see eye to eye. Pacioretty was a captain back then.
Pacioretty was an asshole, and I think that they should have moved Pacioretty first and seen what happened.
The Pacioretty trade,
I think it should have happened. Like,
Pacioretty trade inside info is that he wanted. I forgot what the trade was exactly at first, but Vegas wasn't even on the radar at one point. So what happened was that his agent, he had changed his agent because his agent was fucking around. So he changed his agent to a guy who's based out of Montreal, and he tells his agent, like, where can I go? And because he wanted a trade, so his agent contacted Vegas, said, listen, Pacioretty's on the market. What would you give up for him? His agent, it wasn't Bergevin, it was his agent. So he called, Pacioretty's on the market. What do you want to give up for him? And he goes, he says, well, we can give you Suzuki and a pick. And they're like, well, no, he said, we'll give you Tatar, and a pick or something like that. So then they came back with Suzuki. Like, maybe I'm mixing up, like, who was going first.
No, Tatar and Suzuki.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the trade, right? Tatar and Suzuki for Pacioretty. But to the point where it wasn't even Bergevin who offered the trade. It was his agent that pretty much broke.
Yeah, man. Because what they'll do is they'll give a player permission to seek a trade, and what they're doing is not only are they trying to work out that future contract extension or destination if he needs to waive his no trade, but yeah, man, like, sometimes the agents are kind of like, they've already had the discussions, like, they know what it's going to take to get him out of there because they've had this conversation. So then they go and they say, well, listen, if you're going to Montreal, like, to try to get a deal done for him, like, yeah, like, Tatar and the pick ain't going to be enough. Like, why don't you throw Suzuki, bro? They start pressing the GMs to the agents.
Exactly. Yeah. Suzuki's he's going to pan out. I think he's a great player. Tatar,
that was a great trade for Montreal, I think.
It was.
I don't like Pacioretty. I've never liked him.
The thing about him is that he's a big guy that plays in the small guy's body. He's a small guy that plays on a big guy's body. He plays a very small style. He's not very physical, so he didn't really fit Bergevin's way of building a team, which I understand. He's a good scorer, but the thing is that when you look at Pacioretty, and I look at the Stanley Cup, the finals when they lost, he scored in Game 7. He scored the first 2 goals. Remember that game?
Yeah, he did.
He scored the first 2 goals, or he was assisted on the third one as well. And then as soon as it starts getting tough, that's when he shuts down. And that's the exact same thing that I saw from Pacioretty in Montreal. He never scored a game winner other than a fucking empty netter. He had probably the most empty netters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he was never a guy who's going to be like, okay, Patch, just get on the ice. We need a goal. We need something. He's always the guy who's going to score 2 goals and a 4-1 win. He'll score 2 goals and a goal and 2 assists in a 6-3 loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's never the guy that's going to reach out, and he's going to make millions. And he's a good player. He's a useful player. But he's not the guy that he thinks he is.
Yeah, and he should have never been named captain of the team. That's the bottom
That was
line.
very weird to me. Honestly, back then, it should have been Subban.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think they could have saved his career. I think that, like, sometimes in life when you move on from a player and it feels right, sometimes it's bad for both sides. And, like, I don't know, man. I think that he could have been the captain and built something great and been like a Montreal legend, and I still think he's going to be thought of fondly because of just his work with the Montreal Children's Hospital.
Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Montreal, but as you're driving downtown, there's the big hospital, and you see it on the left side of the highway. It's huge. It's a fucking monster, and you see PK Subban's face bannered on.
Awesome, and he deserves that because nobody gives that kind of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody gives that kind of money, man. And these guys have it, but like you don't want to be one of those people being like, well, that's only this much percent because, like, what are you busting out? But man,
the idiots that
he blew that out of the water though. Like,
the idiots that say, well, he's saving taxes on it. Okay, but he still gave the money. I don't care if he's saving all of it in taxes. The money is still going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Why complain about that?
Exactly. If more people cared, if it was just as simple as that, people would give money all the time. It's not as simple as that. Right? Wouldn't Jeff Bezos just give a bunch of money away, and wouldn't all these billionaires just give money away if it saved you that much in taxes? Like, give me a break, man. Nobody does what he did. That's such a terrible argument.
Yeah, man,
but we all know how people are. PK is he's a loud African American guy, and in the hockey world, there's still some problems with that.
There's
stuff.
still big time problems with that.
You can tell with these undertones and comments that people make, like talk about his suits and stuff. Like, oh, he's focused on this. It's like, dude, Austin Matthews dresses up like fucking Aladdin every day.
Yeah, like Austin Matthews is brutal, man. The guy's mustache. Yeah, like nobody says anything about that. You know, it's like
exactly. Or like any of them, like Pasternak, even in Boston. It's like, yeah, man, I don't care.
Some guys are flashy, man. European guys are flashy too. You know,
exactly. It's like, but PK, it's like he's flashy. He's about himself. It's a problem. And why does that happen? Because these people are fucking racist.
Exactly.
Assholes, man. It's like, Pasternak's trying to build a brand too, and so is fucking Matthews, and with his dirt, his Dirty Sanchez is 10 out of 10. That's a beauty. I love that though. These guys need to have some character, and it's all these old dinosaur guys that I'm looking to just blow out of the water with hockey.net. I have declared war on these old fucking guys.
Hockey players are so some of them, well, not all of them. Some of them are so boring. Those interviews with Scott Oak, as much as I love Scott Oak, he's like
I would rather watch an oak tree give an interview than Scott Oak. Man, he's boring.
Man, I snooze at him. Elliot Friedman, to me, those guys are.
Oh, dude, they're boring. They're so boring, man. Like, there's no energy. There's no charisma. They have the knowledge, but it's like, they're just good at reading it off the stat sheet that some guy who works there that's a big fan like us put together for them. Exactly, I don't need a stat sheet. I know the shit because I'm interested in it. We're gonna blow these guys out of the water. I'm telling you.
I hope so, man. I hope you guys do. Fuck, you guys are good shit, man. And as I was watching the draft lottery, and I'm watching, and I see on TV Ron McLean, Elliot Friedman with his nasty ass beard, and Sam Constantino. Mm-hmm. And Constantino, he had his handlebars going, like he was a little different. So I liked it. It was cool.
I like Constantino.
Yeah. And Ron McLean, to me, he epitomizes what boring journalism in Canada is, and Elliot Friedman's becoming that. And Elliot Friedman is always, he talks so low, and he's very, I feel like he's kind of condescending. He was condescending towards Kyprios so many fucking times, and Kyprios was a fucking beauty. He was the only color on that fucking panel, and they took him away. They had guys like PJ Stock, took him away. Who else did they have? They had Kelly Rudy gone.
Dude, they blew
all these guys are good.
One thing Sportsnet, I say to this day, made a mistake. They got rid of Kipper, McLean, John Shannon, Darren Millard, and replace them with 23-year-old sports journalism students, man. And these guys and girls stink. The best girl at Sportsnet's Ivanka Osmak's one of the best in the game in general, man or woman. She's one of the best in the game. But these new men and women at Sportsnet, they didn't replace those guys worth of shit. That coverage sucks.
I'm not even into it anymore. And it's a dying breed.
Well, good thing we're going to have 6 podcasts, a morning highlight show, roundtable discussions, tarpsoffhockey.net. Buddy, I have to cut this soon because I have another podcast that I got to do and another one. I have 2 more to do today talking about tarpsoffhockey.net, man. And it's crazy. It's been a real good response out of the gate. We're 24 hours old here and I'm feeling good about it. I thank you for your time though, brother.
Thank you, buddy. And anytime you want us on the sesh, just let us know and I'll
I would love that. Let's book something for this week. Even,
yeah, I'm down. 100%.
Yeah, okay. Send me a message, buddy. Good talking.
Thanks for coming on, Chris. I appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate it, bud. Cheers.